Throughout Canada and right here in Toronto, candlelight vigils being held as community members come together to grieve their loved ones. These are young lives that have been cut short by a crisis that last year marked a grim record in this country. And on this International Overdose Awareness Day, families not only remembering their loved ones, but also calling for change.
His funeral was so big. During COVID, I had to rent the football field. And he had over 200 kids.
A promising football career cut short when the Gould family had to bury their son, just 17 years old. Marcus William Mason Gould's family says he died of an overdose in 2020. Carfentanil found in his system.
I was told to go to hospital because he was dead on the table. You know? When I walked in the room, they were pumping on him. And they didn't ever call us to say, you know, your boy's on the street. How can we help you bring him back?
When COVID hit their small Ontario town, life and football opportunities stalled for the high schooler who was diagnosed with ADHD and Asperger syndrome and faced mental health issues. Street drugs were easily accessible.
He was just lost. Mentally, physically, he's just lost. I tried everything to get him back in. Just one hurdle after another.
His mother says they struggled to find help for the teen who stopped coming home. Tammy says a police officer's interaction with Marcus and a friend one day left her defeated.
He said that they both seemed to be in a state of psychosis. 17-year-old boy on the street in the state of psychosis, and that he said right in his report to Children's Aid that Marcus will fall prey to the streets. And he didn't take me in.
On this International Day of Overdose Awareness, Families for Addiction Recovery calls this crisis a cruel illness.
The kids are not all right.
The drug poisoning crisis has touched every corner of Canada. In fact, the government says 2021 is the worst year on record. Every day, 21 people died of opioid-related overdoses.
We have no urgent response to that crisis from any level of government. And they're working at cross purposes, not together, to solve this with the families. Families are being traumatized.
FAR adds that there are fewer services available to youth who have a hard time accessing supports, and they're calling for
treatment on demand, resources for treatment on demand, harm reduction services, funding for harm reduction services, and lastly, drug policy reform. A big problem is long wait lists and accessibility, like knowing even where to get the services.
Help wasn't there for the Gould family and for Marcus, seen here 5 days before his death, 40 pounds lighter.
The help could have been there to bring him back.
And Tammy tells me that she and her family, including Marcus, had multiple interactions with Children's Aid Society as well as their local police department. She says she has asked both organizations to review and investigate how they handled her son's case and her concerns about her son. But she tells me nothing has come out of that. Meanwhile, the Gould family now lives out east. But as you can tell from the story, Tammy continues to advocate for other families.